Hello and welcome everybody to another StarCraft 2 cast by Glitch. This is going to be Game 2 of WhiteRa versus EGIdrA, and spawning here in the bottom left position as the red Protoss, we have WhiteRa. Spawning here in the left position as the blue Zerg, playing from Team Evil Geniuses, we have EGIdrA. Now this is going to be Game 2 of a best of 5 from the ASUS Republic of Gamers tournament. That's a relatively new tournament. I think this was actually the first tournament that they have ever had, and both these players are absolutely spectacular players, and I didn't get to see any of it, so I'm casting the series, very excited to see some of these players, and it's a little bit of a selfish thing for me too, because I want to be studying some ZVP, and so that's exactly what I'm taking a look at here, trying to look at how both of these players play out this matchup, and yeah, we're going to have to see how they do here in Game 2. Now, Game 2 is going to be on Shattered Temple, which, as you can see, both players have spawned close by air positions. So EGIdrA will definitely, or not definitely, but if he does decide to go for that Mulus play, that Mulus play can be very, very strong. Also for WhiteRa though, I mean WhiteRa, of course, a fan of the special tactics. He likes heavy use of the Warp Prism. So Warp Prisms are very, very, very good, and especially when you're just in this close position here, when you're just a stone's throw away from your opponent's base, one Warp Prism on this ledge over there with one big army attacking up at the front can vastly force your opponent to split up all of his units and have to defend two positions at once. It can be very, very difficult for a Zerg to do, who really, to be able to take on those very strong Protoss Death Ball armies, needs to have their entire army there focused, whereas WhiteRa can just drop a Warp Prism here and just warp in, drop 4 Zealots, warp in another 4 Zealots, and have 8 Zealots in the main doing a lot of damage. Can be very, very deadly for EGIdrA. Now, in this case, we do see WhiteRa is going to be going for that Forge Fast Expand once again. He has now thrown down that Forge, but EGIdrA, of course, has spotted this immediately. His Overlord that came from here went directly down to the southern position, immediately spotted his opponent, moved that Overlord to the front, and he's now seeing the exact timing on this Forge, and he's now going to feel so safe in throwing down a fast hatchery, and that's exactly what he's going to be doing. He did get that pool up just for safety's sake, as that's just because that's what EGIdrA likes to do. And I'd also like to note that in Game 1, it was super critical that WhiteRa did not put much pressure on his opponent. Looks like he was going to try to go for some kind of early timing attack on 2 base, but EGIdrA got in very early with those 3 Zerglings, got them into the main, and I think EGIdrA might have actually forgotten about this Overlord. He's gonna, I don't know, yeah, he might be able to get that away in time. Yeah, he's definitely going to be able to get that out of range there, just in time. Good timing by EGIdrA there. Gonna take a little bit of damage, but no big thing. Like I was saying, in Game 1, EGIdrA managed to get 3 Zerglings into the main expansion of WhiteRa and really just disrupted any timings that WhiteRa could have been going for. He could have been going for some big 2-base timing, but since he was delayed so much by that early Zergling harass, that could just be so hard to get off a good timing at that point, and WhiteRa, I think, might have been thrown off a little bit. Tried to maintain that 2 bases for a while, had a little bit of indecision, I feel like, in deciding whether he really wanted to go for that 2-base timing, keep trying to do that 2-base thing, or expand. I don't know. It felt a little in-betweenish to me. It felt a little like he had kind of lost his timing window, wasn't quite sure when to attack, and then EGIdrA just came into his base with a ton of Mutalisks, did a bunch of worker damage, and then that just kind of made it feel just for WhiteRa. Now, so putting pressure back on EGIdrA is definitely very important. Players like EGIdrA, if you don't apply pressure on them, they will just go all out. I mean, if you let them, they will build nothing but drones and expansions and just get up the biggest economy you have ever seen. And that's exactly what EGIdrA did last game. We saw him get up that very fast 4 bases as soon as he saw his opponent was just sitting there on 2 bases and not being very aggressive. So EGIdrA just took 4 bases, got up that crazy good economy, and was able to do pretty well with it. Now, looks like in Game 2, EGIdRA's going to be going for a very late gas, and he's going to be taking a fast hatchery. It looks like he's starting to take down the destructible rocks here, and why can he do this? He's extremely safe in doing this because he has this Overlord in position. He can see exactly where his opponent is in tech. He sees that his opponent does not have Warp Gate up right now. There is no Warp Gate up for his opponent. Stargate now being dropped by WhiteRa, and EGIdRA does not yet know about that Stargate going down, so he's going to be a little bit surprised if he all of a sudden has a Void Ray or maybe a couple of Phoenixes in his base. But looks like WhiteRa is going to be going for a similar set of buildings, though he's getting them in a very different order as he did in the previous game. It's going to be a similar set of buildings. He's getting that gateway up, followed by that Cybernetics Core, and then he's throwing down that Stargate. So he's going to be able to apply some pressure with that Stargate, and there's that third hatchery going down for EGIdrA at that gold expansion. That could be very, very deadly. And as you can see, these Zerglings don't even have speed yet. EGIdrA is taking his time so much with getting tech up right now. He's really trying to slow his tech. He's going to just focus strictly on getting up an economy. As you can see, his natural expansion is already well saturated. His main is well saturated. Just now starting Zergling speed here at the 7-minute and 30-second mark. That's super, super late. Roach Warren now coming down as well as the Evolution Chamber. But see, now that his economy is up, now he can just start to throw down all kinds of tech. Suddenly you're going to see him throw down Evolution Chambers. You're going to see him throw down that Roach Warren. He's going to get all kinds of tech up very, very quickly, be able to tech to very high-tech, high-tier units very quickly, and he's going to have 3 bases up very fast. As you can see, EGIdrA, with these slowlings, though, wants to still be using them for something. He's going to start to use them to tear down the destructible rocks at the back, but the Void Ray is now up here for WhiteRa. Phoenix is being produced back home, as well as Protoss ground weapons. Level 1 is on the way. Zergling speed not going to be up quite yet, but did EGIdrA finally manage to spot? No, he didn't manage to spot that Stargate, but it looks like he's anticipating some kind of Stargate play as he's now throwing down these Spore Crawlers at each of his base, and just now he's going to be spotting that Void Ray. That Void Ray is going to start to focus on that Queen. There are 2 Queens out here, but that Phoenix does manage to get in there, pick off one of those Queens, and that Void Ray is getting really charged up. One Stalker is also here, going to focus down that Queen very fast. These Zerglings do not have speed yet. EGIdrA is not going to be quite prepared to be able to handle this many units. He's going to frantically try to get up more Zerglings. 20 Zerglings on the way right now. 2 Queens on the production tab. Zergling speed just now about to kick in, but just as the Zerglings all die, some of those Zerglings that were back taking down the destructible rocks did just come back, managed to pick off all those gateway units, but as you can see, these Phoenixes are just lifting up these Queens, and this Void Ray is dealing so much damage right now. Another Queen is going to be going down here, and I don't know, is WhiteRa going to be able to deny this expansion? More Queens continuing to come out here for EGIdrA. EGIdrA now starting to drop creep tumors all over the place, needs that Queen mobility, and needs to be pulling that Queen back as soon as he can. 2 Phoenixes continuing to fly around the map, get some good scouting information, going to come in here, be able to pick off this Overseer that EGIdrA was just making right in the middle of WhiteRa's main, but EGIdrA is going to be able to see there's a huge gateway count coming up here. And do we have any kind of robotics bay? No, we don't yet have any robotics bay going down here for WhiteRa, but that's definitely not been eliminated as a possibility here for EGIdrA, as he did not get to fully scout into this natural expansion yet, so there could be a robo there as far as he knows, but with this high of a warp gate count, it is not that likely, so EGIdRA's got to be feeling pretty confident that it's going to be a big warp gate play. He has already thrown down that Hydralisk Den. He's getting that Grooved Spines as well. Layer Tech is now up for EGIdrA, and he's now throwing down that Macro Hatchery just because once he's on that gold expansion, if he gets this saturated, he's going to be rolling in money. So he needs to have that natural expansion up as soon as possible to try to really start pumping out those units to take advantage of that huge economy that he went for in the early game. We now see 3 Hydralisks on the production tab, and it looks like we have pneumatized Carapace coming up here for Overlords. This is a brilliant play by Overlords, or by EGIdrA. This is something that's extremely smart to do just because I mean, if your opponent goes for Stargate Tech, if they go for a lot of Phoenixes and things, you need your Overlords to have a lot of mobility, as much mobility as you can give them. But holy cow, all these Hydralisks are out, but they're all just getting picked up here by WhiteRa, and WhiteRa's going to have a big army here that he's going to now move into the gold expansion with and start to do a lot of damage, starting to pick off a few drones, and it looks like he's just going to continue to warp in more units. More Stalkers are coming across the map. Why? Because they're mobile and fast units, but EGIdrA now continuing to stream in with lots of Lings, lots of Hydras, and some more Roaches. 7 Roaches on the way as well. These Phoenixes continuing to pick up these Hydralisks, trying to take out as many of them as they can, and these Hydralisks, if controlled well, can actually will be taken out very quickly if they're not controlled well, rather, is what I meant to say, as these Hydralisks are light units, and these Phoenixes do have bonuses against light units, so these Hydralisks die really, really fast. If a lot of Phoenixes come in and start picking up all those Hydralisks, Phoenixes can actually do fairly decently against Hydralisks. But as you can see, the Roach count is now pretty high here for EGIdrA, and now he is in full macro mode. Like I said, he is now fully saturated on 2 bases. Hasn't been able to do too much damage to WhiteRa. WhiteRa feeling confident about the damage he has dealt so far. So far he's killed about 9 workers, which is not bad, but if we check out the Harvester count, well, you can see that they're actually about even, but of course WhiteRa, or EGIdrA rather, has this gold expansion up and running, so he's going to be able to be ahead in the econ despite having the same number of workers. +1 missile attacks now on the way. Hydralisk Den has finished researching that Groove Spines. Glial Reconstitution is complete as well. So it looks like Roach Hydra is going to be the name of the game here for EGIdrA. He's now getting a good Overlord spread all over the map. which I absolutely love. Going to be poking into that third expansion as well. He does now know that this Nexus has gone down, and so he's going to know that his opponent... Whoa, that's an interestingly placed Overlord there for EGIdrA. Might have been a bit of a miscontrol there, as I'm not really sure what exactly he was trying to accomplish by throwing that down there. But more gateways now coming up for WhiteRa. We do now have a robotic support bay on the way. That is going to mean we are going to be seeing some Colossi here out of WhiteRa, which I really, really like. That early push with all those air units forced these Hydralisks out, so that almost kind of forces EGIdrA away from Mutalisk, because he really can't have an effective Mutalisk timing now. After these Hydralisks have been forced, he's pretty much committed into Roach Hydra, and at this point it would cost him a lot of resources to tech switch into Mutalisk, so that's not what he's going to be doing this game. He's going to have to sit with this Roach Hydra army, and it looks like he's going to try to go for some kind of a timing attack here before these Colossi can get out. No Colossi are yet on the field. The Robotics Bay just now completing, but the Roach is starting to deal damage to these units here, and it looks like they are just going to start to pound on all of these buildings at the front here of WhiteRa's base. Now, some units are going down, force fields are going down here, but as you can see, WhiteRa is kind of constricted by his own buildings as he's not really able to deal too much damage, and now EGIdrA just going to be pulling back while he continues to macro units, and now we do have Overlords coming in and spreading creep. I absolutely love this from EGIdrA. This is brilliant, brilliant play from EGIdrA, that these little things like this make the absolute distance. See what EGIdrA is doing here? He's using these Hydralisks, which have increased range. They have much higher range than the Mutalisks, or than the Roaches, so he's keeping them far back, while these Hydralisks do damage to the buildings at the front, and bam, as soon as he takes down that wall, he moves in with all those Roaches to now take damage for those Hydralisks, while the Hydralisks deal the damage, and look at that, EGIdrA now kiting back on creep. This is what that creep does for EGIdrA. If he's using those Hydralisks and keeping them at the front, by throwing down this creep, it's giving those Hydralisks that additional speed they need if they need to be able to pull back in a hurry. But as you can see, it also helped with those Roaches, getting those Roaches right to the front of the battle the second that wall falls, and now EGIdrA is just macroing up tons of forces streaming across the map here. EGIdRA starting to deal lots of damage, and he's starting to break the front. There is a Colossus up here for WhiteRa, and he's trying to do what he can to defend, but he has lost those gateways at the front. Still got a lot in his main expansion. He is chrono boosting those as quick as he can, knows he needs to get up a lot as fast as he can. Third base is still not quite fully saturated. EGIdRA is fairly well saturated. Well, no, he's actually not that saturated either, but that is, of course, a gold base, and EGIdRA now producing lots and lots of Roaches and Hydralisks to reinforce. Needs to be careful, though. Hydralisks do not do well against Colossi. Colossi can rip through Hydralisks really, really fast, and as you can see, he's trying to use those force fields the best he can, but those sentries are now out of energy, and now all the Roaches and Hydras are now moving forward, trying to focus down all the gateway units of WhiteRa. So much damage being dealt, so many Hydralisks being lost, but I think WhiteRa is losing a lot more as EGIdRA's continuing to stream in with more units still continuing to come across the map. He has rallied into his bonus base. See all those Hydralisks dying to just that one Colossus, but EGIdRA just knows he's so far ahead. He is just jamming units down the throat of his opponent. He did finally unpower that robotics facility, and the GG comes out of WhiteRa for Game 2. EGIdRA takes Game 2, meaning we are going to be going into Game 3. If EGIdRA is able to take Game 3, he's going to be taking this entire best of 5 in a 3-0 sweep. Let's see if EGIdRA can pull it off going into Game 3 in just a moment, guys, so stick with me.